The Thunder are who we thought they were. Bonus points if you recognize that quote. When they're at home. But how are they on the road? Let's talk about it. As always, we're going to show you the stats for the Thunder on the road and the Pacers at home. But before we do that, let's look at an amazing performance by one Mr. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He's on a historic finals run. I know it's only been 2 games and both those have been at home for Shai, but when we look at the top 10 scorers in NBA Finals history, there he is at number 7. Obviously, there are some legendary names on this list. MJ in 1993 averaged 41 points a game in the finals. We have Shaquille O'Neal's number 6 here. Shaquille's also number 4, and Michael's number 9. And all 4 of those finals, of course, Phil Jackson was the head coach for the Bulls and the Lakers. We have some legendary players from the 60s here, Rick Barry, Elgin Baylor, and Jerry West. And then we have LeBron James in 2015 and Allen Iverson in 2001. And his 76ers lost to the Lakers that series simply because Allen Iverson did not like to practice. Of course, I'm joking. But look at Shai up here at number 7. If he continues on this run, we could be watching one of the top 10 performers in NBA Finals history. What's up, everybody? This is Karen. This video, I'm going to give you my NBA Finals predictions for Game 3 on Wednesday, June 11th. As I mentioned, we use the offensive rating, the defensive rating, and the pace to make our predictions. And this is what I showed in my video before Game 1. The Thunder at home have a 121.2 offensive rating. The green bars are the offensive ratings for both teams. They have a defensive rating of 104.7. The red bars are the defensive rating. And of course, you want the offensive rating to be high. You want the defensive rating to be low. Amazing gap here. The Thunder at home are number 1 in the league in both offensive rating and defensive rating. Amazing. The Pacers on the road are about average on both offensive and defensive rating. But the series has switched, so now the Pacers are at home and the Thunder are away. But what does that do to these bars? Let's check it out. Look at the Thunder. The offensive rating went from 121.2 at home to only 116.2 on the road. That's a big 5-point drop there. However, on the road, that's the 3rd best in the league. And their defensive 108.1 is obviously worse than 104.7 at home, but that is the number 1 defense on the road. The Pacers' offensive rating improves to 117.2, and their defensive rating improves to 112.0. So the gaps here, of course, are much closer than they were when the Thunder were at home. But what will be the model predictions when the Pacers are at home? Let's take a look. Here are those numbers I just showed you in that chart. The pace on the road for the Thunder, 100.6, 100.3 for the Pacers at home. This is a predicted pace, and this is adjusted again for the playoffs. So the model thinks the Thunder are going to win 113 to 110, 223 total, negative 2.9 spread, a 62% chance to win this game. As I mentioned before, not everybody wants to go back to the beginning of the season. Let's just look from January 1st to the 2nd game of the NBA Finals, and these are the stats. The Thunder offense rating actually improves on the road at 117.9. The defensive rating actually goes down. The Pacers have a better offense rating at home and a better defense rating as well. So in this case, the model would predict the Pacers to win 115.1 to 114.7. Had to go out to a decimal place here because it was so close. A 230 total, a negative 0.4 spread for the Pacers, and a 52% chance for the Pacers to win this game. So this is a much closer game if you consider the stats just since January 1st. If we go one step further and just look at the playoff stats here, check this out. The Thunder on the road in the playoffs have a really bad offensive rating. I was shocked to see this, 108.2. And their defense rating is not very good either. We know they played the Grizzlies, the Nuggets, and the Timberwolves. So in this playoffs, the Thunder have not done too well on the road. The Pacers' offensive and defensive ratings in the playoff is pretty much the same as it was for the entire season. In any case, the model would then predict the Pacers to win 118 to 106 at 224 total, negative 11.9 point spread for the Pacers, 89% chance for the Pacers to win this game. So I know this is pretty wild. There's a lot of variance here. If you look at the predictions here for the total and the spread, in the most conservative case, the Pacers are only 2.9 point underdogs here, and the total ranges from 223 to 230. So what are the current lines on FanDuel? Let's take a look. FanDuel has the Pacers as 5-point underdogs and 228.5 for the total. Since the model is only giving the Pacers 2.9 points, the +5 would be the bet for the model, and the under 228.5 would also be the bet. But let's not jump on the +5 points here for the spread. If you have multiple accounts and do a little bit of line shopping here, you could get a 5.5 point spread for the Pacers. These are the lines on Caesars. We have +5.5 for the spread and 228.5 for the total. These are officially my best bets for this video. The Pacers are getting 5.5 points and under 228.5 for the total. Now I have one more bonus pick for you. I don't usually put out player props, but my wife has been watching these games with me. In fact, she's probably watched more NBA games this entire season than I have. My wife is very much into the NBA, and I'm very lucky that we get to sit down and watch these games together. And one thing that she's noticed that Tyrese Halliburton, when he has a bad game or when he gets criticized, he usually comes back with force. And what are the 2 things that Tyrese does the best? Of course, scoring and assists. So 25.5 for points and assists, going over that total is my wife's just for fun pick. She doesn't want anyone to lose money in this pick, so this is just for fun. Now, of course, I always verify these kind of things with data and stats. And in the 18 playoff games that Tyrese has played, he's 9-9. He's been over this total 9 times and under it 9 times. But at home, he's 5-3. So I actually like this pick quite a bit. I will personally play this pick. Hope you enjoyed this video. Can't wait for Game 3, June 11th. Good luck on your best bets. Let's go.